Good evening. Welcome. My name is Kwabena. I want to share with you today what I call entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. Entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. Every profession that you know people are in. If you meet a footballer, you look at the way they do their things. Nobody will tell you that this is a footballer. When you see a doctor, nobody should tell you that this is a doctor. When you meet a politician, you see the way they talk, the way they give promises, the way they want to, they crave for popularity, and they want people to know that they are present. That's a sign of a politician. When you see somebody who's a pastor, you see the way they talk, how quickly they want to, tell you about their church, their God. When you meet somebody who is a carpenter, when you talk to them, you see they breathe, they live in their profession. They live in their profession. They virtually everything that they do is, you can see that this is a carpenter. When you see a farmer, everything that they do is about the farming. Unfortunately, when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of us confuse it with all other things, So if I work somewhere and I have a side business, people would easily want to say that they are entrepreneurs. Or if I have some shop somewhere, or if I have some construction business somewhere, easily we would want to say that we are entrepreneurs. I think there is some bit of clarity that we need to have on entrepreneurship, especially for those of us who are really into it. Getting a contract somewhere from a minister and executing it it's not about entrepreneurship. It's just about money. Or doing some side business to get revenue is a bit different from what we call entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is really a lifestyle. When you meet an entrepreneur, you will see how they talk, you see how they think, you see their frame of thinking is different. The way they look at life is different. That's why when you see in countries where they have produced a lot of successful entrepreneurs, if there's a common pattern that you can see among those who have been able to produce a lot of entrepreneurs who have been able to build mega huge businesses out of nothing. They most of them built businesses out of nothing. So there is a way they live, there's a way they think, there's a way they process information, there's a way they look at life, there's a way that they do their things. Just as you will meet when you meet an actor, you can see that this is an actor. The way they behave, the way they think, they breathe their profession, they talk their profession, is in them. If you meet any other group of people, you see the way they behave, you see that this person, looking at his lifestyle, this is what he's probably into. So the same with entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurs have a particular way of thinking. Even if he's not fully into it, there are some tendencies that you will show. There are some things that you will show in the way you do things that will eventually push you into becoming an entrepreneur. There's a way you look at life, and there's a way you think. There's a way your persuasions are different. And anybody who gets themselves into that kind of lifestyle will eventually will start to practice as an entrepreneur, because it's a terrain, it's a state, and the moment your actions start to tally with those, you will see that you start to think more and behave more and practice more as an entrepreneur. So there's a way they think, there's a mindset for entrepreneurs. They don't think like Everybody they think, just as a doctor will not think like everybody, or a police officer will not think like everybody, or a soldier will not think like everybody. Soldiers think differently. They think in a particular way. There's a particular training that they have. Police people think in a particular way. There's a particular training that they have other than the civilians. They are some tools that they know. There's a lifestyle that they live, and so is the entrepreneur. You cannot be an entrepreneur and not have this kind of lifestyle, not have this kind of thinking, not have this kind of outlook of life. If you don't have that, and you call yourself an entrepreneur, or you say that you are building businesses, or your profession is entrepreneurship, and you have not that, and you are not in that knowing of that, it means that you will fall off. You'll fall off. If a policeman stops to think of when a policeman starts to think as a civilian, he cannot practice as a policeman. He is a soldier, does not think as a soldier man. He cannot practice that profession. If a doctor refuses to think, if a doctor starts to think like a carpenter, that is dangerous. He has to think as a doctor, and even in that they have categories. And so if you want to practice as an entrepreneur, there is a way that they think, and it takes a while for us to really understand that this thing is really a lifestyle. And when you look at even children, their tendencies, you can see that this one will end up becoming this, or this one will end up becoming that. There is a way that you can study some children, and you may think, or you will see that it's likely that this child will become an entrepreneur, because it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And so there's a particular way they think, and there's a way that they see opportunities. The rest of the people may see opportunities as scary, as risky, as something that they don't want to see. But entrepreneurs have a way of looking at opportunities differently. It's not that they are crazy, it's not that they are mad, it's not that they are foolish, it's not that they don't see things that will hurt them, or hurt their finances, or hurt their reputation, or hurt their comfort. But there's a way that they have, over the years, there's a way that they have trained themselves to look at opportunities, and they look at opportunities as something that they would want to prove, with their skill, with their passion, with that which they can add value to society. So they look at opportunities like that. They are trying to find themselves in opportunities. If you look at them, especially the first ones, the ones who are not sure, the ones who just began, you will see that if you go to look at, do you know how long it will take you to develop this product, or do you know how long it will take you to develop this business? Everybody else will be intelligent enough to calculate and to see how dangerous it is. The entrepreneur may calculate, but he wants to prove something. He wants to do it. It's in his heart. He's obsessed with it. So there's a way that they see opportunities. Everybody sees it as scary, but they see it as something that could be phenomenal. And so that is the way entrepreneurs. It's a lifestyle. If you have not lived that, it's not easy for you to talk somebody who has practiced as a police officer for 10 years, 20 years to say that stop. Or it's very tough for you to talk somebody who has practiced as a politician for years to say that stop. The same thing. If you have that tendency, or if you have developed yourself to into the part of entrepreneurship, your way is different, your thinking is different. When people are talking you out of the dream, out of the opportunities, you hear it with your ears, but you will still go ahead and do it anyway, because that is a lifestyle. It's something that you have developed. It's something that you don't know any other thing that you do but to look out for opportunities. So if you are that kind of person who is always looking out for opportunities, looking out for business opportunities, looking out for things to improve, looking out for how to get solutions, solve problems, you are likely to be that kind of those kind of people that we call entrepreneurs. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. So you always think of how to solve problems, how to get things done, how to be on time. You're passionate about something. Everybody else is looking at somewhere, and you are looking at how do you get this thing going. So that is a lifestyle. People will not easily understand you, but that's how it is. Where you look at ways of creating values, creating products, creating businesses, that's all you think about. That's all you think about when you are there with your friends partying and drinking and dancing. Your eye, you've been trained to just be looking. Your eye, somebody else will see and just say, okay, it's nice. You are looking at, okay, well, what can I do here? Because that's entrepreneurship. So it's a way of life. It's a way you look at life, which is different from the way others may look at life. And sometimes you meet friends who maybe are working in some of these corporate institutions, and they say that, oh, me too, I want to start a business. So I've been trying sort businesses. Sometimes I work here in the office and I give it to people to run. And as usual, you can't trust people when they run it. You can lose your money and things like that. You see, it's because they have not fully gotten into the entrepreneurship lifestyle. They're doing it for money. They're doing it for revenue, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if they want to do it as entrepreneurs, you will not keep that job comfort. After a little while, you would want to do this fully and take charge and learn it, because entrepreneurship is really about constant learning, constant skill development, constantly becoming better. That's a lifestyle. That's the core belief of entrepreneurs. They always want to learn. They always want to become better. They always want to go for the next. And so if you are a corporate person and you say that I want to start a business, I want to do something alongside, that's really an entrepreneurship. That's something that you're just doing for revenue. But the moment you fall into the lifestyle, the moment you have acquired enough information, enough conviction, you want to stop everything and go and do this. You want to stop everything and go and make sure that this idea works, this idea becomes profitable, this idea changes that which you want that idea to change. So it's not really about just the money. Most of the entrepreneurs that you see are hardly driven by money. They are hardly driven by money. They are driven by the vision. They are driven by the desire. They are driven by trying to establish themselves. And that is why entrepreneurship becomes a bit difficult at the beginning, because most of us were not driven just by the money. No, majority of the entrepreneurs were just driven by the product that they are designing, the services that they are designing, the process that they are designing, and how it will help society. Very few of them even think of the essence of the money, and that's why they struggle for a while before they get to a point to say that the money was also important and I should have also added it. And so most entrepreneurs are just, it's a way of life, and they are just creating, the concentration is creating value, solving problems, creating better processes, creating better products, and it happens that they start to build business around it. And so if you're somewhere and you said, oh, I can supply this to schools, I work here, they pay me 2 cedi, 3 cedi, or 4 cedi a day, but I am looking for some kind of revenue somewhere, that really is not entrepreneurship. That's you trying to just get some side revenue. There is nothing wrong with that. You are trying to solve your personal money issues or money problems. It's okay. But if you say that the people who go ahead to build businesses, build companies from scratch, first generation business owners, business founders, they happen to be entrepreneurs, and usually they are driven by the vision, by the passion, by the skill, by the conviction that they have, and it's a lifestyle. They think in a different way. They focus. When you talk to them, they are talking about their business, they're talking about their product, they are talking about the future. They are occupied. Their mind is fully wired to think in a particular way. They are always looking out for opportunities. It's a lifestyle. And so if you don't fall into that category, you still so desire that you want to be somebody who wants to practice as an entrepreneur, then you should look at how they live. Their lifestyle is a bit weird and different from the others. They constantly believe in self-development. They believe in self-education. They constantly look for knowledge and information and techniques and training. They look for mentors. They are always learning. And it doesn't really matter their age, they are always learning. Entrepreneurs could be old, could be young, could be middle. It doesn't matter. It's a state. And the moment your mind is in that state, you are always looking for learning. That's why when somebody says that I have a project, they gave me a contract, I don't refer to that as an entrepreneurship. You know, they have very little to do with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is really a proving of a concept. It's a proving of an idea. It's a proving of something that you think can solve problems for society. And usually when you have that idea, you have no connection, you have no money, you have nothing. It's just that this idea just dawned on you, and by the time that the idea becomes even understood by you, you would you would not even have thought that this idea was originally how this idea originally came to you. You know, it's just like a seed. By the time the seed is planted in the soil and becomes a tree, nobody would even think of how small that tree was in the form of a seed. So really, that's entrepreneurship. So there is constant passion for self-development. And so if you see somebody who has that kind of tendency, that kind of lifestyle, those are the people who turn out to be people who build businesses. And usually the kind of businesses that they build independent of government institutions. They build independent of paying bribes. They build independent of connections and things like that. They are focusing on solving problems for society. That's entrepreneurship. So they are not people just somebody hold hands to say that help this guy to get a contract. Those kind of things. No, they are people who have a tune out concept to prove it. So maybe he has an idea to develop a film, to build a farm, to come up with a processing plant, to develop a software, to build affordable houses for people. They have something which is connected to their gift, which is connected to their aspirations, which is connected to their heart for humanity. It's a lifestyle, and that then makes them very much focused on that which that they want to do. They really don't really care about a lot of the other things that people care so much about. So if you start off and your focus was just to look for the money and things like that, you may not have the entrepreneurship lifestyle. You may have something which looks like maybe it's a business or salesperson or things like that, but the entrepreneur is always coming out with ideas of creating businesses, solving problems, and and they focus on fine-tuning the idea, making sure the idea, the business model works, and then maybe they start to look at the money and how to make it profitable and how to make it grow and become big. So it's a lifestyle. Their thinking is different, and entrepreneurs are not afraid of mistakes and challenges and disagreements and oppositions and errors and tough times. It's their frame of thinking, their way of looking at life. Those things don't really deter them. They don't really give up that quickly. They fight. They continue to fight all the time. It's a lifestyle. The things that will make other people to sit back, fall back, and say that I'm tired, I don't want to go up again, I have given up. These other guys whose lifestyle, they meet problems every day. They fight. They continue to fight. The disagreements will come. They don't. It does not mean that it doesn't bother them. It bothers them, but what can they do? Because it's a lifestyle, and the terrain that they are in, there is disagreement. There are disagreements. There are fights. There are troubles constantly, and so the entrepreneur is like that. And it's a lifestyle. So when somebody else is so much scared of being misunderstood and being being misquoted and things like that, entrepreneur's lifestyle, he really doesn't care. I mean, it's not that he doesn't care about the feelings of people. You really care about feelings of people, but to what extent can you explain your position to people, especially when you're honest and genuine and you're just surely being misunderstood? It's not like you're a bad person, but the way it is, sometimes entrepreneurs form businesses with friends, with families, and as the business start to grow, disagreements come up and people split and things like that. If you're really an entrepreneur, you will not let the split stop you. You will not let the split make you give up on your goal. They will go, but you will still focus because it is wired in you. That's how you are. That's who you are. That's how you think. And so people can disagree and talk and do all kind of things, but you will still be the one who will still be pursuing the dream, because that's how you will not give up. It's a thinking state. It's a mindset. It's a condition that you are in. It's a lifestyle. So entrepreneurship is like that. You're there. If you're so much scared of being misunderstood and you don't want to make mistakes, you don't want errors, and you're perfect, you may not have the entrepreneurship lifestyle. If you're that perfectionist, don't turn out to become very good entrepreneurs. Why? Because entrepreneurs are really looking at the moment they see that the idea is 2 or 5%, they start to just stop and they just start to run with it, because they believe that once they start, they can keep on correcting it. That's entrepreneurs' way of thinking. Some other people would want to perfect the product, perfect the idea before they start. Most entrepreneurs don't think like that. They think, this idea is okay, this product, they just push it there and they start. The business, they just have 2-3% of the thing. They said that they will need 5,000 to start the business. They have 200 Ghana. The typical entrepreneur will just start with what they have. They don't put the idea on hold like that. They are fast in thinking. They are fast in starting. They want to just try to see if it works or it doesn't work. It's a lifestyle. It's a thinking. But the other person who is not in that category would want to have all the 5,000 before he starts the idea, or he would want the whole thing to be perfect and nice, people to describe it as very perfect before they push it to the market. By the time they get to the market, nobody needs it. The entrepreneur is always ready to go, and he wants to feed on the feedback from the the response from the market. It's a thinking. So if you're a perfectionist, if you're the kind of person who is always looking at things to be 100% clear. That's why people who are very good in school don't turn out to be good in terms of businesses, because they are very intelligent. They got all the 100 and things like that. And if they were like that, and they want to start a business, they would not want to push a product on the market which is 10% or 20% accurate. No, because they are used to being perfect. Is the 100%. So most of them cannot handle the fact that this idea must go, this business must start. They said that we need this, but this is what we have, so we just have to move. Most people who are that much, or who are that much academic and intelligent, are not comfortable with that, and that's why entrepreneurs tend to be not so much afraid of the mistakes. The other guys who are very much perfect, people who are perfect, are not comfortable with making mistakes, because they associate mistakes with stupidity. It means that they are not intelligent. The entrepreneur does not associate mistakes with being unintelligent. They think that the mistake just sent out a response that they needed that quickly to make a better decision, and they are not the one waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They just have to go. And that's entrepreneurs, and it's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking, and they don't just hope that things will change. Entrepreneurs don't just hope that things will change. They strategize, they plan, they have substance for the hope. They don't just hope that things will change. You will not tell any entrepreneur to say that, wait for God, things will change. No, entrepreneurs are always looking out. You are saying that things will change, but what is the proof? What am I doing now to make sure that things change? So they are always looking for a strategy, a plan, something that will support that hope. They don't just hope. So when you see a lot of people who are just hoping that things will change and who are not doing anything, the corresponding actions to make sure that the change or the hope is legitimate, those kind of people don't think in terms of the lifestyle of an entrepreneur. You don't sell hope to an entrepreneur. You don't sell magic and miracles to entrepreneurs. They want realistic structure, plan to get to the goals. They want to go. They want to have a plan. They want to have a strategy. If things does not work, if things don't work, what do I do? If this thing fails, what do I do? They are always thinking. They are structurally thoughtful. They have a particular way of deducing solutions. And so it's not just one solution, and if it doesn't work, then they are stuck. They are always looking at how do we get to the results? How do we get to the results? That's a lifestyle. That's a lifestyle, and they believe in delivery. They believe in getting the plan to the goals, than just hoping that the goal will just happen one way or someday in the future. So entrepreneurs are like that, and they have enormous belief in their abilities. They believe in the hard work, and they believe in results. entrepreneurs believe in themselves. Okay, so because you have got to have that. Almost everything is being thrown at you. Every negative thing is being thrown at you. So if you say that you are an entrepreneur and you want to start something, your self-confidence must be in that. You cannot just give up for anything. You want to carry yourself and to go. And the thing about self-confidence is that when you have it, I think that in this life, people who have self-confidence succeed more than people who don't have it. And your self-confidence is more powerful than your confidence in any other thing in this world for you to succeed. The confidence that you have in your abilities, that confidence is more powerful to help you get to your goals, to help you achieve anything in your life, than your confidence in anything that you call in this life. And that's why when you want to conquer any people, you look at cultures that have very mild self-confidence, or who don't have self-confidence at all. You will not see a lot of entrepreneurs coming from those cultures, but you will see a lot of entrepreneurs coming from cultures that believe in themselves, that are proud of who they are, or that are proud of their culture, proud of their heritage, proud of their independence, they're proud of owning something, they're proud of building something. That is a thinking. And so if you want to produce entrepreneurs, you cannot take the confidence out of them. If you take the confidence out of any group of people, they will never do anything for themselves. They will forever follow. They will forever look up to somebody for help. And entrepreneurs are not comfortable being helped all the time. They want to create their own opportunities. They want to be in charge of their lives. It's a thinking, it's a lifestyle. They don't want to be marginalized. They don't want to be victimized. They don't want to wait for you to help them. They want to help themselves. They want to take charge of their destiny. Those kind of things come from the fact that they have a certain level of self-consciousness, of self-esteem, of self-confidence, and that is why they are not comfortable being treated like they are nothing. They are not humans, So if you build cultures that establish people's self-esteem, self-confidence, it's likely you are going to get a lot of entrepreneurs from those cultures. If you want your children to dare, and that's where the future is going. Actually, most of our children would have to own their own companies and work for themselves. If you want, the least will be for them to work for themselves, but most of them would want to own a company. That's where the future is going. Why? Because the number of people being produced every day, by the time that your child, who is 10 years now, gets to 40 or 35, there will be so many people that the only way that a lot of the courses that they are going to do will not matter. One of the best skills that you would want to give your children will be the fact that they will be able to believe in their decisions and to create their own choices and their lifestyle. So you would want to make sure that your children have that kind of thinking in terms of entrepreneurship, because they will need it. The future they will live in, a lot of it will depend on them creating opportunities for themselves. So if you want to train your children in that part, a lot of the times express belief in their choices, express belief in their decisions. Don't be the kind of person who's always choosing for them. Let them try something and fail. That's how they build the confidence, and that is a lifestyle that entrepreneurs have. That is a lifestyle that entrepreneurs have. So they assume a lot of confidence. They assume that it's very much important. It's a lifestyle. You just have to have it. It does not mean that truly very confident people are very humble as well. Very confident people are not arrogant. Arrogance is a sign that you are not confident in yourself. Arrogance is a sign that you have low self-esteem. Pride is a sign that you don't believe in what you have. So you have to create a facade. You have to create an image for people to be afraid of, but very confident people are very much humble. That's why most entrepreneurs, when you see, most entrepreneurs are very much humane, very much calm, very much down to earth, very much humble. Most entrepreneurs, most of them, because that is a lifestyle that they have to live. That's a lifestyle that they have to live, and it helps them to get the best of talent, best of network, best of people. It helps them for people to trust them. It's a lifestyle. So the moment you start to exhibit some of these things, it means that you have that entrepreneurship or entrepreneur mindset or lifestyle. If you don't exhibit those things, it will be tough for you to say that you want to build a business. other than you just trying to do some connections to get revenue. That's different. But for you to build a business from scratch, you have got to have that entrepreneurship lifestyle. And so the other thing is that you see that they exhibit patience, and they believe so much in the future. They exhibit patience, and they're able to endure the process. They exhibit patience, patience, patience. Patience does not mean that they have relaxed, they have rested. No, patience means that there's a consistency in getting stuck with the processes that will get the results. And so they're working, but they know that some things will take some time, some things will have to develop for us to get results. So entrepreneurship lifestyle, they are not the ones who are quickly looking for the solution and the money and want to cheat and lie and do everything to get the money. The entrepreneurs are much more focused and patient and character driven. One of the signs that you will see among entrepreneurs is that they are character driven. At least if when they started, they were not character driven. As they grow, you see that they get to be more philosophical, they get to be more character driven, they get to stand for something, and they get to believe in fairness and equity. They tend to believe in being loyal and holding yourself by your word, things like that. They may not have started with that, but it's a thinking, it's a state that they get into. So they believe in treating people fairly. They believe in give people what is due them, and they also hate to be cheated. They don't want to be cheated. That's why they don't want to cheat another person. And so when you live in a culture where some business people say that they're entrepreneurs, but they are not character driven, they are not honest in their dealings, that is not entrepreneurship. Those are greedy people who are looking for money. And that's why they are not innovative, that's why they are not creative, that's why they are not able to improve on their systems and structures and processes. They are not able to come up with new products and new businesses that quickly, except the ones that are known that everybody else is following. Why? Because they were not. Entrepreneurship thrives on creativity, and it's because they are patient, so they can enjoy the processes. It's skill development, it's constant upgrading of expertise, of knowledge, of understanding. They are constantly developing themselves. So it's a thinking, it's a lifestyle. And so if you fall into that, you see that your way of thinking is much more different. So it's not just about the money that people talk about, even though it's important, but entrepreneurship lifestyle is driven by vision, by idea, by a mission. You believe that you are gifted with something that you want to impact the world with. It's a gift, and people cannot easily talk you out of that gift. You believe that, and nothing can stop you from giving up on that. And you tend to believe that and work towards that. You polish that idea, you polish that philosophy. And entrepreneurs also believe so much in their people, in their country, look at any entrepreneur anywhere, they believe so much in their country, in their people. They want to create prosperity and dignity for their people. That is a thinking state. So if you don't think like that, and you say you want to start a business, that which is driving you is the money. And that's why most people give up on businesses when they hit the rock, because they didn't have any philosophy. They were not entrepreneurs, so to say. They were just in for the money. And so when the money was not coming, they had to just close and run away. My name is Kwabena. I'm talking about entrepreneurship is a lifestyle. So there's a regimented way of them thinking. They think in a particular path. When you meet them, you will see. Even when you meet them and they have a job, you can see that this kind of person, the way he does his things, is so certain that he will go and start business. You can see the way they talk, the books they read, the things that attract them, the videos that they watch, how they spend their time. You can see that this one is going to start a business. And you can see their mentors, the things that occupy their time. You can easily see that this one is an entrepreneur. And so, and you see some, they are always looking out for opportunities to become better, opportunities to build businesses, opportunities to solve problems, opportunities to create things. That is the entrepreneurship lifestyle. And the other thing is that they are always looking out to solve problems. And they're creating value, products and better services. They're always looking. They are not the ones, usually they are not the ones looking out for just some political jobs to get money. Those are the business people looking for money. Entrepreneurs start from where they are, but their only leverage is that they are so much buoyant, they are so much resourceful, they are so much determined that with the idea they can get every other thing that they will need to build a business around that idea. That is entrepreneur. All other people will go and look for everything without the idea. The entrepreneur will look for the idea, and once the idea is there and they believe in the idea, every other thing they are ready to go and fight to get, so that the idea can become a business. So that's entrepreneur. They are thinking is a different, and there is always, they are always their quest for knowledge, their quest for wisdom, their quest for understanding, their quest for expertise, skill, training is so much. I mean, they are very, they don't get satisfied. It's constant learning. That's a sign of an entrepreneur. They are constantly learning, studying, building themselves, and they are not afraid of the pressure. The one who thinks has that lifestyle, that thinking, is not afraid of the pressure and the problems and the difficulties and the failure. They're never afraid of that. So if you shake under the pressure, you're not that one. You're not that one. It's not in your lifestyle. So you'll give up. You'll give up. And the other thing I said is that they don't just believe in hope. They work. They work. They have to have. They don't just hope, like what people say. Oh, things will be better. God will bless you. Entrepreneurs don't buy those things. It's not God will bless you, things will be better. They want to be the one creating the future themselves. They work towards it. You tell him, you say, okay, but he goes home, he's not sleeping. He goes home, he's thinking, he's planning. He's looking at what is the next step that I have to take. Constantly, that's how they think. That's the lifestyle they live. They are always constantly looking for that. There's a problem. What do I do to solve it? They are constantly looking out. And they can be 70 years, that's how they live. They can be 10 years, that's how they live. They can be anything in between, that's how they live. Constantly looking. They don't want to be told that things will just change. They don't believe in that. They work towards to make sure that things change. That's why any culture that is telling people things will change, you are killing the entrepreneurs in that culture. Things will not just change. Come up with a strategy, come up with a plan to change the difficulties that you're meeting in your business, the difficulties that you're meeting in any other aspect of your life. So they strategize. They have a strategy. They work towards it, and they are not the ones helping themselves. You say that things will just change. No, they have a plan, and they work towards it. They are very sensitive to time. They are very sensitive to results. They are very sensitive to improvement. So, and I said it that the next thing is that they believe in themselves. They believe in themselves. If nobody else believes in them, they believe in themselves. And they continue to work towards it. People may doubt them, it doesn't matter, but they believe that they have something that can get results. So, and they work hard. They don't give excuses. They work hard. If there has to be done, once you have that kind of lifestyle, that kind of thinking, that kind of outlook of life, if anything has to be done, they don't put it down. It has to be done, and it must be done. So they get results. That's why they grow. They get results. And the other thing is that they are very much patient to endure the processes and become better. They know that when they get the skill, they'll get the results. Those are the people. They know that if they get the skill, they'll get the results. Entrepreneurs think differently. They think differently. So they are talking about youth in entrepreneurship and things like that. Those are some of the things that they have to look at. It's not just that giving them the factory. It's not just that giving them the farming or the project or whatever you're doing with them. But these things that have to do with the way they see life and the way they see themselves, the way they think, the ideas that they process, the knowledge that they process. Those are the things that separate them from the others. Those are the things, because that is everything. Those are the investments that will separate their success, that will make them successful. And so, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching.